Hi, my name is Emma, and today we have an excellent lesson for you on the difference between past versus past. So P-A-S-T versus P-A-S-S-E-D. Now you might be wondering, these words, they sound the same. You're right, they are what are known as homonyms, meaning they sound the same, but they have two completely different meanings. Now this lesson is actually quite important. Native speakers often make mistakes with the difference between past and past, and so do ESL speakers. So if you're doing a test like the TOEFL, IELTS, it's very handy to know the difference in spelling and meaning, because there is a good chance that you will lose marks if you make a mistake on these. Okay, so to begin with, I will explain past. Now when I talk about past, I want you to think time. Think time, that's keyword, think time. When I talk about P-A-S-S-E-D, I want you to think movement. Okay, so think time for past and think movement for past. Okay, so I'll start by explaining the word past, P-A-S-T. Now on this board it shows that it's a noun, an adjective, as well as a preposition. What past is not is a verb. So verb, no. Pretty much as a noun, past means before the present moment. So for example, it's a period before now. So think about this. What was popular in the past? In the past, Tamagotchis were popular. In the past, big hair was popular. In the past, pocket watches were popular. They're not popular anymore. So when we think about the past, we're thinking before now. If you think about it, when we're talking about tense in English, we have the past tense, the present tense, and the future tense. The past tense refers to before the present, before now. Okay, next we have past as an adjective. The good thing is it means essentially the same thing as past as a noun. Again, it means before. Currently, as an example, right now in Germany, the leader of Germany is a woman. Okay, so the leader of Germany is a woman. Past leaders have all been men. So right now, leader is a woman. Past leaders have all been men. Now, what is an adjective, in case you're wondering? What an adjective does is it describes a noun. In the sentence I just said, leader is the noun, and we're describing the noun leader using past. What type of leader? Leaders from before, past leaders. Okay. Lastly, this is when it gets a little bit confusing. Past as a preposition. Past as a preposition, I told you to think time. I still want you to think time. But whereas for the noun and the adjective I was talking about before, when I use past as a preposition, I'm talking about after. So what is an example of this? Well, right now, it's 5:20. This is the time. 5:20. Now, if I want to use past, I can say, when somebody asks me what time is it, I can say it's 5:20. I can say it's 20 minutes after 5, or I can also say it's 20 minutes past 5. So we're still talking about time here, but in the case of a preposition, when you're talking about the actual time on your watch, you're talking about after, the time after something. Another preposition using past, this one does not have to do with time. So the one-time past does not have to do with time. I will give you an example. The house passed the church. The house passed the church. This also means after. What house am I talking about? The house after the church. So when we use past as a preposition, we're talking about after. Whereas when we use past as a noun and an adjective, we're talking about before. So now let's talk about past. Again, pronounced the exact same, but spelled differently. Now what do you notice when you look at this word? P-A-S-S-E-D. That right there gives us a clue. ED, we're looking actually at a verb. We're looking at the past participle of the verb to pass. As I said before, I want you to think movement. Verbs are actions. They're movement. So past is a verb. It has multiple meanings. We'll go through some of them, but I really want you to think movement. So the first meaning of the verb pass means to go by. I'll give you an example. Did you see what I just did? I passed the board. The board is on my side. I moved past the board. I passed the board. Today, on my way to work, I passed the mall. So the mall was on my side. I didn't go into the mall. When I was walking, I passed the mall. We often use this too when we're talking about driving. I'm a very, very slow driver. Cars in the other lane, they often pass me, meaning they're driving faster than me. So when I'm here, they move past me. They pass me. A second meaning of the verb passed is to go away. Earlier today, I had a really bad headache. My headache passed. My headache went by. It's gone. Maybe you're feeling dizzy, and then you stop feeling dizzy. Your dizziness has passed. We use it in this sense a lot with illness, with sickness, and it just means, again, to go away. Now finally, my favorite, to succeed in school. So we use past, talking about success and succeeding, when we're talking about school. Now I think a lot of you probably are students, and maybe you have to take a test, an English test, at some point. I hope you pass your test, meaning I hope you succeed at your test. So passing your test, I passed the test. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you some examples that we can do together to show the difference between past and past. All right, so here are some examples to show you the difference between past and past. We're going to do these together. So I want you to read each one, we'll read it together, and then I want you to try to answer it. Not only do I want you to try to answer it, but I really want you to think, are we talking about an adjective, a noun, a verb, or a preposition? Because remember, past is movement, it's a verb, while past is not a verb. It's either a noun, an adjective, or a preposition. So let's get started. Number 1, I blank the supermarket on my way to school. I blank the supermarket on my way to school. So what do you think it is? If you said, I passed the supermarket on my way to school, you are correct. I is the subject, passed is the verb, and the rest is the object. All right, you ready for number 2? Number 2. In the blank, dinosaurs walked the earth. In the blank, dinosaurs walked the earth. So what do you think it is? Past or past? If you said past, you are correct. this is not a verb. In this case, it's a noun. In the past, I'll just write so you can see. In the past, dinosaurs walked the earth. So before today, before now, in a long time ago, dinosaurs walked the earth. Number 3. Now this example I really like because I used to be an archaeologist. What is an archaeologist? Some of you might be asking. It's somebody who studies old things, old objects, pottery, pyramids. Indiana Jones is a very famous fictional archaeologist. So maybe you've learned a new word today. So number 3, archaeologists study blank cultures. Archaeologists study blank cultures. Do you think it's past or past? Now look at this. Do you see a verb already here? Yes, we have the verb study. So therefore we know it won't be this one. Archaeologists study past cultures. Now my next question to you is, do you think this is a noun or an adjective? If you said noun, you're actually incorrect. It's an adjective. Because our noun is culture. What type of culture is it? It's a past culture, meaning a culture from before, from a long time ago. Okay, last one. I blank my test by studying blank tests. So in this one we have 2 blanks. I blank my test by studying blank tests. So what do you think it is? So the first blank, do you see a verb in this first section? We have a subject, an object. We don't have a verb. So therefore we know it's going to be past. And which meaning of past is it? It's to succeed at a test. So the opposite of fail. I passed my test, that's very good, by studying blank tests. So what do you think this is? If you said past, you're correct. I passed my test by studying past tests. So here we have the noun, test. What type of test is it? It's a test from before, an earlier test. Now this is actually a really good thing to do if you're doing the TOEFL, the IELTS, any type of English test. It's always very good to actually go back and look at past tests. So I hope this has been an informative lesson for you. I'm very glad you came to visit our website today. So please visit us at www.engvid.com. Again, that's www.engvid.com. Until next time.